Commission on Judicial Appointments is now in session. The Honorable Patricia Guerrero presiding. You may be seated.
Good morning. I think it's still morning. And welcome to the public hearing of the Commission on Judicial Appointments. As Chief Justice of California, I serve as chair of the Commission. The other members of the Commission are Attorney General Rob Bonta and Presiding Justice Manuel A. Ramirez. Janelle Baker serves as clerk and secretary to the Commission. This hearing is to consider Governor Gavin Newsom's appointment of Judge David Rubin to the office of Associate Justice for the Court of Appeal, 4th Appellate District, Division 1. The Commission is in receipt of a letter from Governor Newsom appointing Judge Rubin to fill a vacancy that was created by the retirement of the Honorable Justice Cynthia G. Aaron. The state constitution specifies that an appointment by the governor to the Court of Appeal is effective when confirmed by the Commission on Judicial Appointments. The Commission received correspondence pertaining to the appointment, and we made these letters available to the press and public a few days ago. Pursuant to a request by Governor Newsom, the State Bar's Commission on Judicial Nominees Evaluation, Jenny, evaluation of the qualifications of Judge Rubin for this position. Mr. Justin Palmer, chair of the Jenny Commission, is present to share the results of the evaluation later in the meeting. Judge Rubin has asked the following persons to be called to testify on his behalf. I will list you and then invite you to the podium. The Honorable Maureen Hallahan, Assistant Presiding Judge, Superior Court, San Diego County. Welcome. Mr. Douglas P. Miller, Associate Justice for the Court of Appeal, 4th Appellate District, Division 2. Welcome. And the Honorable Judith D. McConnell, Administrative Presiding Justice for the Court of Appeal, 4th Appellate District, Division 1. Welcome. We first invite Judge Hallahan to the podium.
Thank you and good morning, Chief Justice Guerrero, Attorney General Bonta, and Presiding Justice Ramirez. My name is Maureen Hallahan, and it is my honor to be here today to speak to you and to all who are present on behalf of Judge David Rubin. I have known Judge Rubin for over 30 years. We first met in 1990 when his husband, Todd Stevens, and I volunteered Monday evenings at the AIDS Foundation. We provided legal work for those with AIDS and HIV. Although Judge Rubin could not provide legal services, outside legal services, because he worked at the DA's office, he would often join us after those Monday evening sessions for dinner. That is where I met David Rubin, and that is where we became friends. I'm still grateful that we remain friends for all these years. Let me just get my... With the limited time I have, I will address 3 areas in the incredible professional life of Judge David Rubin. First, his time in the DA's office. Second, his time on the San Diego Superior Court and his leadership and commitment to the bar and the judicial branch. I did not work with Judge Rubin at the District Attorney's office, so I reached out to his former boss and good friend, Judge Bonnie Dumanis, the former District Attorney of San Diego. This is what she told me. David made his mark and entrance to the San Diego County District Attorney's office with a flair. When, in 1986, District Attorney's Office, District Attorney Ed Miller hired him as the first openly gay Deputy District Attorney in the office. His career of over 20 years was as colorful and irrepressible as David himself. As was David's style, he would not only handle cases, but he reached out to the communities impacted by crime. David was a fierce advocate with a keen sense of justice. His wit, intellect, and ability to quickly grasp complex issues made him the go-to person for difficult cases and thorny issues. He was also there to nurture new attorneys and to offer his opinions, solicited or not, to anyone who would listen. He served the office and the community exceedingly well. After a distinguished career at the DA's office, Judge Rubin joined the San Diego Superior Court in January of 2007, 4 months before I did. David immediately became active in many court committees, contributing to each. During our first few years on the bench together, we were in different branches and different divisions, but came together in family law. I was the supervising judge at the time, and Judge Rubin's chambers was next to mine. In fact, it was the same chambers Chief Justice Guerrero occupied when she was on our court in family law. I was so lucky to have these two in the chambers next to mine. So thank you both. Judge Rubin brought his strong work ethic, his ability to truly listen and understand, his calm courtroom demeanor, and his good judgment to family court. He understood the gravity and deeply personal impact of his decisions. He never hesitated to ask questions or to make sure he had not missed anything. The parties and the attorneys knew they had been heard. Although Judge Rubin was called away from family early to handle high-profile criminal cases, he never left family behind. He balanced his work to be available to hear family law cases, particularly those with which he was intimately familiar. He was generous with his time and mentored new judges. In 2020, when COVID hit, like all courts, we struggled to keep critical departments open. Although Judge Rubin was not assigned to family law, he was the first to volunteer to cover family law departments, handle domestic violence restraining orders, take the night duty, whatever it took to keep family law running. He also served in a civil assignment for 2 years and on our Superior Court panel with Justice Kellety for 3.5 years. I was fortunate to join that appellate panel. We all enjoyed the work, the camaraderie, the collegiality, and the lively intellectual discussions. During our conferences, Judge Rubin was prepared, analytical, and collaborative. He also peppered our meetings with his great sense of humor and perspective on life. These conferences were some of my best times on the bench. I believe Judge Rubin's experience on our appellate panel gave him the certainty and confidence that he was well suited for and would enjoy serving the public as a justice on our Court of Appeal. Now to my third and final point, Judge Rubin's commitment to our legal and judicial communities. Judge Rubin was and is active in many different bar organizations. In the early mid-90s, he was one of the initial members of the Tom Homan Law Association, the LGBTQ+ Bar Association. He served on the board of THLA, providing leadership, guidance, advice, and helped grow the association. At THLA events, he conducted entertaining and informative interviews with a few of our California Supreme Court justices. Early in his judicial career, Judge Rubin became active in statewide judicial branch issues through the California Judges Association. CJA is over 2,400 members strong. It provides active and retired judges and the judicial branch support in critical areas. In 2009, only 2 years after he joined the bench, he was selected as one of 2 judges who would represent San Diego County on the 26-member CJA Executive Board. In his second year as a board member, he was elected to one of two vice presidents. And in his third year, he was elected president of this statewide, powerful, and well-respected organization. He began his CJ presidency in 2011 after having been a judge for only 4 years. Judge Rubin was the first and only openly gay president of CJA and moved the organization toward more diversity and inclusion. During his tenure on the CJA board, California was in a recession. The judicial branch was facing the possibility of deep budget cuts, which could have crippled the branch. As president, Judge Rubin led the effort and tirelessly and successfully advocated for more funding for the judicial branch, or more accurately, fewer cuts for the judicial branch. And he fought for much needed legislation in numerous areas. He oversaw the controversial move of CJA's headquarters from San Francisco to Sacramento. This proved to be an excellent move for CJA, as Sacramento was both less expensive and the state capital, making it more convenient to conduct CJA's extensive lobbying efforts on behalf of the branch. Judge Rubin took an oath to serve the public and fully and faithfully dedicated himself to that mission. To his new colleagues on the 4th District Court of Appeal Division I, congratulations to you. You are gaining a brilliant colleague and a true public servant. He will never let you down, and he will serve with dignity, courage, and humility. I urge the Commission to confirm his nomination to the 4th District Court of Appeal, Division 1, and I thank David Rubin for his friendship and for asking me to speak on his behalf today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Judge Hallahan, for touching upon all of those 3 areas that are all equally important and really highlight all the wonderful attributes of Judge Rubin. And we'll next hear from Justice Miller.
Good morning, Chief Justice Guerrero, Attorney General Bonta, and of course, my presiding judge, Ramirez. My name's Doug Miller, as was indicated, and I'm honored and privileged to speak on behalf of David Rubin for his confirmation to the 4th District Court of Appeal, Division 1. And I wholeheartedly and enthusiastically support his confirmation. I first met Judge Rubin in 2001. And since that time, I've had the opportunity to observe him and work with him in really 3 separate capacities. First, as mentioned before, his term as president of the California Judges Association, 2011 to 2012. We were colleagues on the Judicial Council for many, many years. And lastly, I want to speak about David, because David is my closest and best friend. So it's these 3 aspects of our relationship and interaction that I want to share with you today, because I think they demonstrate why he is exceptionally well qualified to serve as an appellate justice. In 2011, when he was elected president of CJA, he earned a seat on the Judicial Council. I, at that time, was on the Judicial Council serving as chair of executive and planning, and I had the opportunity to discuss with him and talk with him about our role as Judicial Council members and the impact that we have on the branch. But I want to sidestep just a little, because as many of you in this room will remember, in 2011, it was an anxious and difficult time for the judicial branch. Both CJA and the judicial branch were facing severe budget impacts, and both were under attack. And there were many difficult days when the CJA and the Judicial Council were attempting to maneuver in what was pretty highly contentious environment, difficult times. When he was elected, I know for a fact that these were not the issues that he thought he would have to deal with and be confronted with as the president of CJA. But confronted he was, and he was confronted from day one. What I loved was I had the opportunity to watch him as he transitioned from platform that he thought he would have as CJA president to something very difficult. And I got the opportunity to watch how he attacked that. Although in a sense, I was going to say that I watched how he tackled it, but that's not an analogy that works with David. So I came up with a better one.
Is he not a football fan?
Well, it was like he was asked to step in to a fledgling Broadway play as a new director and lead it to a Tony. And that's what he did with CJA, right, Dave? Better now? Okay, all right, bud. So in preparation for today, I talked to a number of judges who had worked at that time with CJA. I talked to a number of former staff, and it was interesting that almost to a person, they talked about how David saved CJA, he righted the ship, and he ensured the future of a viable CJA. And, you know, in and of itself, that's impressive. But what was impressive to me was the opportunity to watch him, to observe him, and to learn from him. Because what's truly impressive about David is not that he can solve problems, because a lot of us can solve problems. It's how he solves problems. He's calm, he's patient, he's reflective, he's meticulous, he's level-headed, he's innovative, and he's resolute in knowing what the goal is and doing what it takes to accomplish that goal. Let me give you an example. In 2011, again, amongst all this judicial anxiety, David did listening tours. He went up and down the state, sometimes into the lion's den. I went with him on many of these. And what he did was magical, and it was awe-inspiring because he listened, and he listened, and he listened. And then he used this warm and caring personality that he possesses to calm the water, to focus on what we were all there for, which is an effective judicial branch. And at the same time, he had the ability to start dialogues, talk about improvements, and reconciliation. That's what he did as CJA president. I never had the opportunity to appear before him as an attorney. I wasn't on his trial court, so I never had that opportunity to observe his trial skills. But I did work with him on the Judicial Council for 9 years. And again, the issues that confront the Judicial Council are difficult, they're important. And I got the ability to watch how he analyzed issues, how he discussed issues, how he debated issues. And just as importantly, to watch how he collegially worked behind the scenes and in public open meetings to foster agreements. David proved over and over that he was knowledgeable, that he was wise, that he had character and integrity, and especially collegiality. Now, having said all those things, and I know that there are some of his new colleagues are here, I would be remiss if I just didn't take 30 seconds of my time to warn them a little bit about some of David's idiosyncrasies. And you know, I don't want to say there are many, but I'm just gonna talk about one and talk to me later about the others. So, you know, as we do as colleagues, we go to lunch, and we go to lunch quite often. And we did that many, many times on the Judicial Council. So I just, you know, don't be offended when David cleans the back of his chair and the seat of his chair and the table in front of him and pulls his sleeves down so when he rests his arms, they don't touch the table. It's just David. I can't tell you how many times, though, when we went to lunch someplace with David and the rest of us all ordered, and David ordered too because he's you know, nice. All of us finished our meals, and David wouldn't eat a single bite. It just, his food would stay right there. Happened many times. The first time it happened, I asked him as we walked out of a restaurant right across the street over here. I said, David, was there something wrong with your order? You know, the food wasn't right. He goes, no. One of us had to be healthy to take the rest of you to the hospital if you got sick from. So you may go to lunch with him. He may not eat his food. Understand. But that's just a part of it. So the last thing I want to talk about is David, because David is a close and personal friend. We became quick, fast friends when we met in 2011. And I think everyone in this room would tell you that there have been times when you needed a friend, and David is there. David makes you feel like you're his only and single friend. It's pretty amazing. And I could talk to you about many occasions when David has been there for me. But I want to talk about one, and I didn't want to get emotional, but I probably will. So in late 2016, my wife at the time, Phyllis, was diagnosed with ovarian cancer stage 4. Prognosis wasn't good. The treatment was horrible. And to say the least, this was a difficult time for our family. And there was David. For many years before that, David and I saw each other almost weekly on the Judicial Council and talked and discussed issues. We talked frequently during the weeks when we weren't together in person. But David called me every morning, every evening, for 2.5 years to check on me. How was your night? How was your day? And then to listen, because I needed to talk to somebody. And he would listen, and he would listen, and he would listen. And unfortunately, the result wasn't good, and Phyllis passed away. But David saved me during those 2.5 years. And, things don't end at that time. And luckily, my friend David didn't go away, and he continued to call me, check on me, see how I was. So not only had he saved me, he was there to right my ship, and he ensured my future. That's the kind of person David is. So David possesses all of the skills to be an effective and well-qualified appellate justice, and he possesses all the skills to be collegial and do what it takes to work in an environment of three. You know, as judges, we kind of are the boss of our courtroom and the decisions we make, and now you switch where you have to work with others. David possesses those skills analytically, but collegially. So I strongly support his confirmation, and I know David will keep the goal in mind and that he will make sure that justice is served for every litigant that comes before him. Thank you, and thank you, David.
Thank you, Justice Miller, for your touching remarks. And I'm sure we could all hear a lot more, spend a lot more time hearing all the wonderful stories that you must have about Judge Rubin, maybe at the reception. We next invite Justice McConnell to the podium.
Chief Justice Guerrero, Attorney General Bonta, and Presiding Justice Ramirez, it's a great honor to be here to speak in support of a man I hope will be my future colleague on the Court of Appeal. Some of his other future colleagues are here, Justice Buchanan, Justice Kelly, and Justice Castillo, as well as the CEO of our court, Brandon Henson, who has, by the way, brought the key card for you, David, so you can go into your chambers this weekend and sterilize them. Just on that point, he and I often have sushi together. He actually eats it. It's raw fish, David. People touch it with their fingers. Anyway, so I can't say how long I've known Judge Rubin, but many years, both as a practicing attorney, judge, and a friend. And as chair of Governor Newsom's Judicial Selection Advisory Committee, I have learned much more about him. David grew up in the Bay Area as part of Berkeley's Jewish community, and he knew adults who had survived the Holocaust, who had survived World War II, who understood the reality that democracy and justice are fragile and not guaranteed, even in the United States. David, you're going to recognize some of the words I'm using I took them from your PDQ. I know. I mean, this is his life. He graduated from UC Berkeley, also my alma mater, yours as well, Chief. And while he was in college, he acknowledged being gay. It was a time when homophobia was spreading throughout the world due to the AIDS/HIV epidemic. And while he had experienced living with anti-Semitism, the virulence of homophobia stunned him since it was so widespread. His lived experiences are part of who he is and what has made him, according to some attorneys, one of the best trial judges in San Diego. After law school, he became a deputy district attorney, trying many homicides, hate crimes, and other serious matters. I think actually they saved the worst cases for David, and he handled them with grace. Throughout his career as a deputy district attorney, he was active in the legal community, including, as you've heard, holding leadership positions on the LGBT Community Center Board and working with law enforcement and other groups, educating them about hate crimes, racism, and issues of importance to the LGBTQ community. He admits having faced bias throughout his career, both inside and outside the legal profession. But that didn't hold him back. It inspired him to do more. After his election to the Superior Court in 2007, he continued his professional activities, as you've heard, in the California Judges Association and the Judicial Council, both of which have been addressed by my fellow speakers. He's also been active in student programs And I'm very proud to say he's been very active in the Judges in the Classroom program, teaching our youth about the legal system. He never says no to an invitation to do so. For Judge Rubin, the most important qualities of an appellate justice are that the justice be compassionate, having empathy, recognizing the humanity of each participant in a case by understanding their perspective while not letting sentimentality or emotion cloud a decision, be intellectually disciplined, remaining focused on the questions asked while allowing for robust discussion and remaining flexible and open to different ideas and not permitting emotion or bias to cloud the analysis. And having a clear sense of justice, helping to maintain balance by interpreting the law and clarifying the policy behind it with a focus on that which is fair and just. These are all qualities he has shown as a member of the trial court, where he has handled family law, criminal, and appellate matters, including the longest criminal jury trial in San Diego history, a multi-defendant gang case, after which both the prosecutors and the defense attorneys gave him high praise. One of the things we do as members of the Judicial Selection Advisory Committee is we talk to all of the lawyers who have appeared before a judge or worked with a judge, and it is just extremely rare to have both sides rave about a judge before whom they've had a very difficult trial. In that case, which was a extremely long, difficult, multi-defendant case, both the prosecution and the defense attorney said that he was amazing, the best judge they'd ever had. The assistant district attorney said he's the best trial judge in San Diego. They will miss him. I believe Judge Rubin has all the qualities that have been described, and he will be an exceptional addition to the appellate bench. By the way, just as an aside, he hasn't given up his active support for the HIV/AIDS community, and he rides 545 miles on a bicycle every year, which is just hard to imagine. I can't hardly ride a block in support of that effort, and I just highly commend him to you. He's the only person in our committee's history. One person rated him exceptionally well qualified, plus, and everyone else rated him exceptionally well qualified. I commend him to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Justice McConnell. We have the P to Q, but it doesn't. It's not the same as the way that you made it come to light, and your additional comments are very helpful. So thank you. The commission now invites the chair of the Judicial Nominees Evaluation Commission, Mr. Justin Palmer, for the report of the evaluation that they conducted.
Chief Justice Guerrero, Attorney General Bonta, Justice Ramirez, good morning to all. I am honored to present this report on behalf of the Commission of Judicial Nominations Evaluation, or Ginny for short, to summarize the basis for the Commission's rating of Judge David Rubin of the Office of Associate Justice of the Court of Appeal, 4th Appellate District, Division 1. The Commission conducted its evaluation of Judge David Rubin on February 18, 2023, finding him to be exceptionally well qualified for service on the 4th District Court of Appeal. According to Commission rules, the rating reflects the Commission's determination that Judge Rubin possesses qualities and attributes of remarkable or extraordinary superiority that enable him to perform the appellate judicial function with distinction. Judge Rubin was born in Albany, California Judge Rubin was raised in Albany, California by Jewish parents of modest means. When Judge Rubin was 16 years old, his father unexpectedly died from a heart attack. His father's sudden death caused significant and difficult life changes for him, his mother, and 2 sisters. However, this experience taught Judge Rubin that the world can change at an instant and inspired him to be more patient when encountering individuals who find themselves in new and negative circumstances, often due to unexpected twists of fate. Judge Rubin received a BA in film and another BA in political economics of industrial societies from the University of California, Berkeley in 1982. He enrolled at the University of San Francisco School of Law in 1983 after a brief period of working at Shepard Mullen as a paralegal. Law school Judge Rubin revived the Friends, Lesbian, and Gays of University of San Francisco, a then defunct student organization for the LGBT community. He is very proud of his efforts to push for the right for this organization to be an official club at the law school, which meant considerable resistance from the law school's president. He graduated with his JD in 1986 and was admitted to the bar that same year. Judge Rubin began his legal career in 1987 with the San Diego District Attorney's Office, initially on a part-time basis because he was told he would not be hired permanently because of his sexual orientation. However, the then District Attorney of San Diego thwarted the majority of other supervisors and offered Judge Rubin a permanent position within the office. Judge Rubin gained hands-on courtroom experience early in his career, even though most of his colleagues would not work with him or assist him with training. Therefore, several members of the defense bar took Judge Rubin under their wing and taught him the ropes, for which he was grateful. In 2006, Judge Rubin ran for and was elected to an open seat on the San Diego County Superior Court. He began his service in 2007, and as a trial judge, Judge Rubin has presided over trials, preliminary hearings, motions, warrants, and long cause matters in the criminal, civil, family law divisions. He has also authored written opinions while he was assigned to the court's Appellate division. Judge Rubin has devoted time to improving the legal profession outside of the courtroom. He is active in leadership positions on the Judicial Council of California and California Judges Association, having served as its president from 2011 to 2012. He has also taught a course at the B.E. Whitkin Judicial College and trial advocacy to law students at the University of San Diego Law School. Outside of the courtroom, Judge Rubin enjoys cycling, baking, reading fiction, and attending theater, and sanitizing things, apparently. He has been married to his husband, an attorney, for 32 years. Judge Rubin enjoys a broad range of experience, having handled civil, criminal, and family law cases as a trial judge for more than 15 years. He expresses a genuine enthusiasm for the research and writing involved in appellate work. The Commission's investigation revealed a large majority of responses from former attorney colleagues and bench officers who were extremely complimentary of Judge Rubin's intellect, dedication to justice, work ethic, critical thinking skills, and temperament. Those individuals surveyed report that he is warm, enthusiastic, engaging, and humble. For all these reasons, the Commission is confident Judge Rubin would succeed and excel on the appellate bench and determined Judge Rubin is exceptionally well qualified for the 4th Appellate District. I will parenthetically note I left my sanitizer at the house, and so I hope when he gets to the podium he won't blame me for that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Palmer, for your sense of humor and for your detailed report. We now invite Judge Rubin to the podium to present a statement, if you wish, and to answer any questions the Commission may have.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Justice Ramirez, General Bonta, for being here. Thank you for undertaking all the work it took to review the materials for today. I'm very humbled and honored to be here. And I think, especially given everything was said, I'll just stay quiet, answer any questions from the panel, if the panel has any.
Thank you. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you. A quick comment and then a short question. Very special for me to be able to be here for this special moment for you and to hear more about you and your career and what drives you forward. Love the commitment to marginalized communities and taking on injustice and having that mission in the law, and just very, I'll say, powerful and moving to hear about your deep humanity and compassion and empathy for other people. So important in any role where we're impacting the futures and lives of those that come before us and that we work with. So, and certainly for a judge. in your new role, what are you looking forward to most, and what do you think will be your biggest challenges?
What I'm looking forward to most, I think, is continuing the work of kind of research and writing. I really enjoyed that. Looking at the law from a different perspective, not as a trial judge, but looking at it from an appellate perspective. Also working with this amazing group of people. I mean, 4 of them came all the way up from San Diego. Well, one had to, but the other came up, and I think I'm looking forward to this new adventure and this new way to serve Californians. I'm looking forward to that. I think in terms of challenges, I think in any new task, there's a challenge, there's a learning curve. I hope I'm going to be open to learning and from my colleagues and being a student, at least for a good long while, to learn how this all works. I'm not kidding myself that this is going to be a lot of hard work, but I don't mind. All right.
Thank you, Judge.
On the age ride, we have a saying, it's 545 miles. Mm-hmm. I didn't tell you it would be easy. I told you it'd be worth it. And that's what I feel.
Like that. Thank you, Judge Smith.
Mrs. Ramirez?
Thank you, Chief. Judge Rubin. Good morning.
Good morning.
Do you have family with you here this morning?
Many.
You like to introduce those in the my heated right?
Yeah. What? The family, there's a lot of them. We just hasn't sure if we could stand or raise your hand.
To everyone in your family, welcome, and how happy you must all be for Judge Rubin this morning. If I remember correctly, and sometimes I don't, but the Magna Carta informs us that we will not make judges or justices of those who as such do not know the law and mean duly to enforce it. Now, I went through your PDQ a couple of times. Don't think I've ever done that. And I did so because it was such a pleasure to read. And I wanted to just enjoy the second read. The first read was a sort of a formality. And so, based on those readings, I don't want to prejudge this, Chief, convinced that you are the ideal of the words referenced in the Magna Carta. I couldn't find a flaw, a shortcoming, anything in your PDQ from which to ask you a question. So I hope you will forgive me if I do not ask you a question.
No, I'm fine.
I'm sure you are. Thank you for the privilege of allowing me to read that PDQ. It was just a joy and a pleasure.
Judge Rubin, I just want to put you at ease. I know that you might be a little nervous, having gotten to know you a little bit, especially lately. I don't have a question. I just have a comment. And my comment is, looking around this room, you see actually the statewide impact that you have had as a result of your dedication, your devotion to serving in so many different capacities. And I think that is a true reflection of who you are, how much you care. And I just wanted to express my gratitude for your public service, and also not to prejudge the vote, but I have no doubt that you will continue to excel, and it will be a wonderful addition to an already wonderful court.
Thank you.
This completes the list of witnesses, unless you want me to ask you a question.
No.
I thought you would.
I hadn't seen Anatomy of a Murder since my college film days, so I did review it. That's okay. I'm good.
Okay.
Sure, Justice.
Yes, well done. We'll complete the list of witnesses and proceed, and I'll ask the members of the commission if they're prepared to vote.
Yes.
All in favor of confirming Judge Rubin for the position, please say aye.
Aye.
On this record and the correspondence received, the commission finds Judge Rubin qualified to be an Associate Justice for the Court of Appeal, 4th Appellate District, Division 1, and we confirm his appointment. Congratulations, Justice Rubin. Justice Rubin has asked that I administer the oath, so we'll be in a brief recess and reconvene here, and you're all welcome to stay for that. Thank you. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, David Rubin,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties upon which I am about to enter.
the duties for which I'm about to enter.
Congratulations. Sorry.
Let me just take a few minutes. First of all, thank you, everyone who is here and who is watching online. This is, for me, a very humbling day and a very exciting day. And so thank you all for being here and being with me. No one who becomes an attorney or judicial officer has gotten here alone. And many people have helped each of us. Many people have sacrificed for us. And they say it takes a village to raise a child. And I think in my case, it probably took a small city. Well, that's about as good as it gets. All right. So I don't have the time to thank all the residents of that city. I would like to take a few minutes to thank some people. So let me first start by thanking the governor, Gavin Newsom, for trusting me enough to give me the honor to serve on the Appellate Court and to continue serving California in this new role. I do not take this lightly. It is a privilege and an opportunity that I will not waste. I promise I'll earn this every day. I also want to thank the Judicial Appointments Secretary, Luis Cespedes, the Deputy Judicial Appointments Secretary, Gonzalo Martinez, and Ms. Debbie Kuhn for their work on my behalf. The Governor and the Appointments Secretary have worked extraordinarily hard to create a bench that reflects all Californians. And what they have achieved is truly astounding. I will actually be the first LGBT member of Div 1 of the 4th DCA. The first is actually Justice Slough in Division 2. So I'll be following her footsteps, but I'll be a first. And this is quite an amazing achievement that the Governor and the Appointments Secretary have been doing. Chief Justice Ramirez, and General Bonta, I wanted to thank all of you for your time and efforts. You should know, if you don't, that the package that they reviewed, and poor Justice Ramirez reviewed twice, is actually over 300 pages. The time and effort that the three of you clearly invested to review those materials reflected in the comments and questions. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. I can't speak for them, obviously, but I think all of us owe a debt of gratitude to Ms. Janelle Baker. She keeps all of this organized and moving, and she was a wonderful person to kind of keep me calm through some of this this morning. But thank you, Ms. Baker. I also want to thank now my three fabulous speakers. First of all, Justice McConnell. She possesses the attributes of a judicial officer that we should all have. She's smart, she's fearless, and she's compassionate. I'm really honored to be working with a friend and a mentor of mine. She's just incredible, and her courage is really unparalleled. Next, Judge Hallahan, as you heard how we met, won't repeat that. Her insights, her intelligence, and her wit have helped me be a better judge and a better person. I want to thank you, Maureen, for that. And finally, to Justice Miller, he's right. The first time we met, we just clicked. We became very close friends. And unknown to many people is in the pit of the recession, the Great Recession, as they euphemistically call it. My late mother, who had lived through the Depression, used to say, I remember the Depression and this is what it felt like. But I guess we're calling it a recession. But it really did rack the branch in the work that Justice Miller did behind the scenes. We all owe him a great debt of gratitude. Thank you for your kind remarks as well. I want to thank those who wrote in supporting my nomination. Former presiding judge of Los Angeles, Kevin Brazil, judge from Riverside, Harold Hopp. My very first day at law school, his last name is Riley, I'm Rubin, so we sat next to each other. They sat us alphabetically. Judge Riley from Alameda, Reg Riley, wrote a letter. Thank you for your kind words as well. And though he's not here, I think he's watching. Judge Rod Shelton in San Diego. And let's just say it this way. He and I are bound at the hip. He's an amazing person. He's also been someone who has mentored and I feel like has helped me become a better judge and a better person. The last letter comes from, as Judge Hallahan mentioned, from Tom Holman, LGBT Bar Association. I've been calling it a law association, but the Bar Association. We started in 1991 to create a space for openly LGBT attorneys and legal professionals to network at a time when it was very difficult to be out in the profession. It's still going strong, and I'm so proud of them, and I really appreciate their support and their letter. Many functions of the State Bar are carried out by volunteers. You heard reference by Mr. Palmer of the Judicial Nominations Evaluation Committee. We call it Jenny. I want to thank all those volunteers, and I especially want to thank the three commissioners who reviewed my application, Ms. Jamie Rage, retired Chief Probation Officer from San Diego, Mac Jenkins, and Mr. Jeffrey L. Hodge. They were sensitive and they were compassionate, and they were something. I also want to thank our chair for coming in and being so accessible. Thank you, Mr. Palmer. You were wonderful. They stood, so you've seen them. You've seen my amazing and wonderful supportive family. I have two sisters, one who could not be here, Ruth, one who could be here, my sister Katie. She's here, and all of my cousins and nieces and nephews who are watching, and family and friends who are here. It makes all the difference in the world. My parents are not here. They've both passed away. We lost my mother last fall. She was 101. Her memory is a blessing on us, or on me anyway. And I hope to carry with me the lessons that my parents gave me about giving back, serving your community. And my father once told me, and it stuck with me, he said something like, we were talking about something, about a decision, a hard decision. And he said, son, making the right decision isn't hard. What hangs up people is the consequences of their decision, and facing those consequences. Don't be that person. So I hope to carry that lesson with me. For almost 17 years, I've served proudly as a trial judge in San Diego on the Superior Court there. The judicial officers and staff have made it a joy to come to work every single day. I was away a lot doing judicial counsel business. They filled in without complaint. And I just want to thank my colleagues who are watching on the San Diego Superior Court for all their help and support. I'm grateful. Speaking of the council, serving on the Judicial Council for the last 11 years has been a great honor and really a highlight of my career. It does very important and impactful work securing access to justice for all Californians and for all courts. Over the years, I was one of the internal chairs. I served with many council members. They were all wonderful. There are too many for me to name here. However, I did want to call out my fellow internal chairs over the years. Justice Slough, Marcia Slough couldn't be here today. Doug Miller, of course. Ken So, Harry Hull, Karen Fujisaki, she's here. Marla Anderson, Jim Herman, and Kyle Brody, who is here. Working with them is just incredible. And there are other council members here that you should know who do such amazing work. Justice Brad Hill is here. Justice Stacy Bouer-Uri, who has worked with me for several years, is here. And I'm missing somebody because I thought I remembered. I didn't turn it. Oh, Lori Earle is here somewhere. There she is. Thank you. Thank you for all your amazing contributions to the branch. We all thank you. And keeping the wheels on the wagon of the council is a very professional and dedicated staff, led by the amazing Millicent Tidwell, our administrative director, but represented here today by Chief Administrative Officer John Wordlaw. He was here. He may have left. He's still here. Very patient teacher on matters around budget and finance. Thank you, John. Our policy director, Shelley Curran, is here. Our public affairs director, Kahala Connolly. Our executive office liaison, Tina Carroll. Our chief operating officer, Rob Oyoung. Believe me, without them, this doesn't really work very well. So thank you to them for really propping me up through a lot of the last 11 years. I'm looking forward to joining my new court. They feel like family. Some of them are sort of. So I want to thank not just the administrative presiding judge of the 4th District Court of Appeal, Judy McConnell, but Justices Martin Buchanan, Jose Castillo, Julia Kennedy, and the court's clerk came up, which is really touching. Mr. Brendan Henson is here, so thank you. I look forward to our new adventure. I make you one promise. I will work very, very hard, and I don't think any day will be boring. I feel the tension in the room. I am not Hillary Swank at the 2000 Oscars forgetting Chad Lowe. That will never happen to me. I saved the best for last. I'm not going to, face that for years. My husband, Todd Stevens, we've been together 32 years. He said something. We were in the car the other day, and I can't remember what brought it up, but he said, we've been together so long, we've raised each other in a way. Which was really amazing. It also had some other overtones I wasn't super fond of, but it was an amazing. We met. We were very young. We've had highs and lows, mostly highs, and I just don't have the words to express to you, Todd, what you've meant to me, how important this has been. Thank you so much for being part of my life for 32 years. I say, let's do it again. Another 32. I really want to thank everybody, and I feel like I've come full circle. My very first Pride was in summer '82. So I want to wish you all a happy Pride weekend in San Francisco. I didn't set it up this way. I didn't have anything to do with it. I didn't know. So happy Pride. Thank you for being here. This means so much. It'll be a great honor. Thank you. I'm chair of litigation, so don't worry. Thank you. All right. Oh, one thing. So we are invited to a reception. You don't need that. I probably don't. I'm theatrically trained. We are invited to a reception. You're all invited, if you have time, to a reception at the 1st District Court of Appeal. I think the officers will lead us. Oh, we have Division 5, Div 5, 1st District, Div 5. Justice Terry Jackson is our host. And I think if you follow the signs or the officers, they will, those who do have time, please join us.